Yeah. So we're live right now. Yeah, you guys have been busy, man. Has it stopped since the fall of last year, or you're still pretty much on the go?
It hasn't stopped. It's actually gotten worse from a busyness perspective. It's
That's
kind of
good,
just
right?
yeah, no, it could definitely be worse from that perspective. Like we've been basically nonstop
Yeah.
since last July. So yeah, it's been really
Wow.
interesting.
That's amazing. Let me find.
I know people are just asking me for it, so just
Yeah,
actually I think I can probably find it on. There it is.
you got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I think
message it
so.
to you right now.
Oh, perfect.
1 second. Technology is pretty amazing.
Yep.
Like the whole CRPS ORPS would be impossible without internet.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think pretty much anything that we do these days would be near impossible without it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
our
mean,
business would be impossible,
for
more or
sure. I mean,
less.
it would be a lot more work. You'd need a staff of 10 times what you've got or 5 times what you got, right?
Yep.
I mean, the
Yep.
practice score is huge for us because it takes on so much of it. I mean, in terms of just registrations and squatting and fund collecting, and then all the stats that we can download directly. Like it's all pretty much automated, which is cool. Hey, John.
Hey, Rick.
We are in soft live right now, so we got about 2 minutes till we go live. So, welcome back, buddy. How you been keeping?
Oh, I've been keeping.
Yeah, your audio's a little low right now.
Always seems to be a problem with me.
It's because you're a man. You're a soft-spoken man.
Okay, how's that? Or
That's perfect, buddy.
perfect. Okay, we'll go
Perfect.
with that.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. Oh, Doug Rodenbush, the winningest man, the winningest man in the internet. Hey, Carly. Hey, Tony. Yeah, it's been this season is just crazy right now. We're up to the Outlaw series just exploded. Like we're adding one new range every week. So we're up to 25 ranges. Last year we had 511 shooters across Canada. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we're going to go over 600, 700 this year.
It's amazing.
Like it's just it's amazing. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's exceeding expectations, and it's nice to see all those ranges just being able to just have fun. So it's cool.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
I find that like ORPS, like the outlaw stuff, is it's blowing up at my home club actually. Like they're getting more and more people literally every time they have it. So it's
Nice.
amazing to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's grassroots. It's the way it should be. Like, and we try and make it easy as possible for everybody. So, yeah. So it looks like we're gonna get this kicked off. Stand by, everybody. Where is that thing? Oh, there it is. Let's go with live. Hey, welcome to the Rimfire Nation Podcast, proudly presented by Tesro.ca, your home for all of your precision shooting needs, including ammo when available. And they also carry Apex, don't they, Vanya? I think they
Yeah,
do.
I think they got a shipment incoming right now.
So there you go. So it's a perfect tie-in. Not that we wouldn't have you on if you weren't a Tesro provider, but you know,
I'm leaving.
Well, it's actually on their front page. So before we do that, let's take a look at what has just arrived on the Tesro website. Stand by. Let's take a look. This will probably seem very familiar to you, but so we've got the CZ600 range 308 on sale for $1663, and the Apex, the Edge, the 1 to 10, and then the Hunter 3 to 15, shipped summer 2023. So you were on the front page along with Spearhead Machining barrel tuners and their muzzle brakes. I got a chance to visit those guys last week on my way to the 22 Hunter match out near near London, Ontario. Those guys are set up with a very, very fancy Mazak CNC mill and lathe. So yeah, so check out Tesro.ca. Get your pre-order in now for the exciting stuff coming down the pipe. So hey, John, what's new and exciting?
Nothing. I try to keep life very dull and boring.
Nah,
it doesn't require much effort for a guy like me, but
you're in the construction industry, man. Nothing is calm, boring, and quiet.
Right. As soon as you've done, if it doesn't matter what you do, if you do it for long enough, it's going to become boring.
I don't know, man. I'm doing something wrong. Clearly,
you haven't done it long enough yet, Rick.
I guess. This is like I'm like a newbie making all the typical tragic mistakes. So
yeah.
Well,
I was thinking. I don't know how many years it's going to be before I'm bored, but it's. I'm looking forward to that day one day, but not quite.
You're in for a 10 to 15 year ride, Vanya. There's no way. And then once it stabilizes, you're gonna look for something else. I know you. So
you're
just that kind of guy.
Can't sit still.
Yeah. Well, first off, congratulations, man. The that rival is everywhere I go. There it is. Which is awesome. Coast to coast. It's just exploded. And I was listening to the Everyday Sniper with Frank Galley, and shout out from him about Apex Optics and having to check out the rival. So you've definitely made quite an impression on the guys that shoot for a living. So
no, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, I'll take that with Frank. I mean, I had to corner him and beat him to a pulp. No, he would have kicked my ass actually, probably. Even the size disparity aside, I'm sure he could. And age difference, he would probably beat me to a pulp. But
there's a lot of hate packed in that little package,
No, I don't know about that, but I know his training is probably way better than mine. Mine is non-existent.
He's influenced so many.
No, and we're pretty lucky, and just kind of circling back to what you said, we've been so fortunate that the acceptance of our brand and the product, and the fact that there's so many rivals out on firing lines across the country, just in Canada alone, or just, I mean, honestly, I don't even know what to say about it. Just we're so humbled by it and thankful for the support that we're getting. And 2023, we always knew was going to be a year for us. Like the way we planned it out was, we're going to have a pretty good base in Canada and then start pushing to the US. Like that's obviously a way bigger market, size wise, but I mean, just the PRS market alone, the number of competitors and the number of matches that they have, it's ridiculous. Like we grew our team, I think, by 600% this year.
I know it's amazing. It's good. I mean, that's what you need to get out there. I mean, for us, when we had the demo model last year, everyone was impressed. I mean, it punches well above its weight class, in terms of the value you get from it. And I think this past weekend at the 2200 match, we had 5 or 6 guys running Apex Optics. And everyone, and it was minus 16. So, I mean, I'm sure you've tested it in all the various conditions, and certainly the guys out west are testing it in sub-zero under snow. So kudos to you for making it work.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. No, we spent our time, we took our time testing it. I think, like I said, remember last time we talked when we were kind of in that pre-production phase, and we're finally kind of getting the gold model in, which is, about 95% of what the final version ended up being. But we were really, really excited about it because we had tested it. I ran them in a bunch of matches the year prior, and then everything from dust bowls and that silty super fine clay dust that is all southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, BC, and anything from rain to snow and minus 30, 40, 50 sometimes. I was like, well, let's see if it works. And I open up the garage and I'll let it sit out in my truck for an hour, and then I'm like, let me spin the zoom and see if it goes a little harder. Well, of course there's more resistance, right? But it still works. So
it's good.
I didn't try freezing it or anything, in a bucket of water and then see if it works. But
that's no one's going to shoot under those conditions. That's called pack up and go home.
Yeah.
John, have you looked through I think you looked through the Apex Rival already, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So. I've not had time with one where I could sit down, look at my charts side by side, and compare notes with other optics that I have, but I've had time to look through it and have what I would consider initial impressions.
Yeah.
And I think you came by the booth with the TACCOM too, I think, right?
Yep.
Some of the other stuff. Yeah.
I think I spent more time looking at the binos that time though than the
It's I'm telling you, 2023 is the year of the binos. Everyone is because you think about what the critical equipment is. They've got the Apex rival sorted out. That 4 to 32 is perfect for the King of 2 miles. I know a couple of guys that were running it there, and that extra little couple of magnification factors is key when you're looking at 600 or 641 meters out there. So that's good. I mean, that reticle, and I know you worked a long time with a lot of different people to get as much input into that, or at least put it in the hands of people that do this, not necessarily full time, but they know what a working reticle should look like. So again,
they shoot a lot. Yeah.
They shoot a lot, and they know what works instantly. Like the Tesla is giving someone a brand new optic with a brand new reticle and say, can you use this out of the box without a lot of, what does this mean? Or struggling to find out, where 2 mils is or 4 mils for your wind hole. So
but seeing at that, actually, I was literally talking to one of our new team shooters, Oscar from South Texas. Hey, Oscar. And I was talking to him today because he called me about something else. And then he's like, yeah, no, I just had a bunch of people look through it. And the first thing they notice is the reticle. They're like, yes, I can shoot this. Like, I like that. They've thought it out. Definitely, it looks like it was designed by somebody who at least shoots or has consulted people to shoot a lot. So
for sure.
We've had so many comments, like we call it our secret sauce because I mean, what sets us apart? I mean, apart from, glass and that kind of stuff at that price point, then we go, what is different about it? Well, apart from the features, the reticle is our kind of secret sauce. Is that when you look at it, you go, okay, it's intuitive. Your brain you don't need like 30 range sessions to figure out how to use it. It's all kind of more or less right there in front of you. And you don't have to kind of retrain and do that muscle memory thing all over again. So we're really proud of the reticle.
Yeah, no, sure. And you should be. Intuitiveness, if that's a word, is very important when you're on the clock, and everything you've tried to memorize is out the window. You just need to be able to, use the tool that you've got in your hands. So awesome. So where can people get Apex now? Before you had a direct model, now you've got a retailer network that you're working with.
Yeah, so you can still buy directly from us at apexoptics.co. So we are kind of still primarily that direct-to-consumer brand. Like we want to stay that as our core business model.
Right.
But we definitely do recognize that there is definitely a segment of the market that will never, ever buy directly online, sight unseen. Right. So we give we were pretty selective in which dealers we work with. We're not really interested in the big box stores. We're not interested in the guys that push a ton of volume, let's call it, that wouldn't necessarily give our brand I'm not going to say the time, but at least they wouldn't really, steer people towards it. It's like, hey, this is definitely something you should look at. So we're pretty careful in the companies and then the retailers that we work with. So we've got in Ontario, I think we got 3 or 4 now, and in Alberta we got a couple, at least one, and then BC we got one. So we try to have coverage in pretty much every province as much as we can. I think we're working on some Quebec ones. But so really it's an opportunity for people to look at the product in person, touch it, feel it, look through it as much as you can evaluate something in a store with artificial lighting. But it's better than, a sight unseen kind of thing.
Well, that's why we love bringing the optics to matches, because guys can get in behind it in match conditions under match light, either first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon or bright overhead sun, and see what a target looks like, or the resolution of the leaves or the grass if you've got it, and really see what you like. And at the price point you're at, it's very much a subjective decision that at some point they're all going to perform roughly the same from the consistency and the accuracy, but it's more of, do I like the color? Do I like the reticle? Do I like the knobs? Can I use this quickly without having to fumble? So,
yeah, that's exactly it. And just one of those things where optics are so oddly subjective. It's just one of those things. It's like almost like a trigger shoe. What trigger shoe do you prefer? It's entirely on a
flat
by person basis, right? I'm a flat.
I'm
not a flat earther, but I'm a flat chewer.
You're a flat
so it really comes down to like optically what works best for your eyes and your visual system. And some coatings work a little bit better than others. And I think we talked about this probably last time, but you put the same optic in front of 2 different people, they'll have a different opinion probably, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They'll have a different opinion, but on a chart, it'll never lie. And that is something I find very interesting talking with people. They look through this or that, and this is so much better. It's like they're not even the same league guys, but to your eye, it looked better.
Yeah,
and that's why you gotta be really careful.
Yeah,
before you spread too many opinions. Without
scientific testing like scientific testing is an entirely different ball of wax,
Yeah.
right? Like end user
Yeah.
perception, I think, is it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And I always stay out of that. Like, oh, was this better than so and so? I'm like, I can't tell you that answer. Like, I can tell you what people have switched from and that they enjoy our optic
Right.
better than. I can say, comparatively speaking, this is the feedback that I've heard from people, and this is all anecdotal, right? It's all personal experience.
Yep.
So I recommend to people just check it out. If you see it at a firing line and you want to see what it's all about and you haven't gotten any time behind it, find one of our team shooters or find a customer
There you
or
go.
whatever and just ask
That's
them
it.
for it, right? And that's what it's all about. So,
Exactly.
yeah, or look for John's, thorough scientific calculations and
But the problem with that is then perception will be different, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So then you end up with that argument. You can say what these different scopes resolved, and you go, but that's not what I see. Well, you would actually see that if you looked at a chart, but that's not what your eye thinks it sees.
Yeah.
And what you think you see is an important part of selecting a scope.
Yeah.
Along with the reticle,
And
but how it
Yeah.
feels to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which is actually the best.
Yeah.
If it feels better to you,
Yeah.
very differently, right?
Well, to further to that, not to get like geeked out in like technical stuff, but we have a little device called a dioptometer, which we use to calibrate the diopter, right? So and the actual reticle itself inside there. So a lot of times, like, this is what one of my engineers told me. He's like, do this as part of your QC process. And I never would have ever even thought to do this because I thought, once you set the diopter, you're looking at a bright white background and you're looking at your reticle and it's clear to you. He's like, that doesn't matter. He's like, use your instrument because that'll tell you if it's set. Because a lot of times, as you are looking at it, your eye will actually adjust and bring it into focus without it actually being in focus. So that could induce a whole bunch of error too, right? So I'm like, oh, I had no idea about that. So that makes sense. And then I actually started testing myself. He's like, look at it for like a second, then look away, and then look back, and then you'll see that it's actually out of focus, or use the instrument. So, and that's just like one little component of the entire optical system that, your eye gets used to and your brain starts interpreting a certain way. So,
and that's particularly true with young eyes because they have the ability to focus so much broader range and quicker.
Yeah.
Some geezer with bifocals.
Oh man,
you gotta get her just right.
I have such a narrow window of performance now, John. It's like it's terrible. It's terrible.
He's showing in it, Rick.
Oh man, I think what else can I do? I just got to work around it.
Yeah.
I rely on people to tell me what to do anyway. So yeah.
I'm like, do I dial into wind or away from wind? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I don't dial wind, but yeah.
Yeah, just do away with that whole knob on the right side. No one
That's
uses
right.
that anyway, man. You save yourself some cost there. Now, you guys have not slowed down. You guys have not stood on your laurels and just capitalized on that rival. And you guys haven't taken a step back and relaxed. You guys actually stepped on the gas pedal, if anything, for 2023. Do you want to give us some insight into what you're doing for us in 2023?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we are adding, I think we're going from 1 SKU in 2022 to about 9 SKUs, which is 9 products or product variations in 2023. So I have a couple of them on my desk. I don't know if you guys have seen them from our SHOT Show coverage, but at SHOT we announced 2 new rifle scopes and basically 3 different models. So we have the Hunter 3-15, which is this guy. So kind of, if you look at it, it actually kind of looks like a rival.
Yeah.
It's more or less the same, except has a 44 millimeter objective lens, 30 mil tube right here. And the cool thing is we kind of kept the look and feel of the rival more or less the same. It's got the same zoom ring size and shape. It's got the throw lever built in, removable as well. Whoop, I gotta remember I'm mirrored. And then the nice thing is we actually, for the Hunter scope, we have these locking pop-up zero stop turrets. With
nice.
And then the same thing on the windage, we actually have a locking windage turret. This whole system actually took us like 6 months to engineer, believe it or not, just a locking zero stop pop-up turret. You'd think it'd be easy, and other companies have done different versions of this, but yeah. So this one is actually going to come in an illuminated and a non-illuminated version. So this is the illuminated prototype. And it's got, I think, 6 on-off settings, just like the rival. And It's going to be about 26 ounces all in. Also ED glass, also made in the same factory in Japan as the rival. So it comes in two configurations, illuminated and non-illuminated. The non-illuminated is going to be a little bit slimmer, so it's not going to have this entire section here.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit slimmer and sleeker, and it's going to lose about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces. We're still calculating that out, but it's going to be and it's going to be the same price. So it really just comes down to what do you prefer.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, and then
how thick's the reticle going to be?
You know what? The reticle is actually super. I think it's like a pared down version of the
CLR.
The CLR. So we actually added, I think, 2 extra mils above on the top half for just kind of that lower magnification, I guess, target acquisition. So it's usable at 3x. And I'm just gonna look up the actual specs if you're looking for like mil ratings on line.
Well, I was saying line thickness is I think you have an opportunity to do what everyone else is failing to do.
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, I think it's one of the ones that we spent a lot of time when talking to our shooting team. I think line thickness is 0. I'm just trying to think.
Is it thicker than the rival?
It is. Yeah, it is thicker than the rival for sure.
Okay.
And the optical system is a little bit different too. I mean, it's still first focal plane, but don't crucify me if I'm wrong on this, but I think it's 0.13 mils line thickness.
Okay, that's for the Hunter.
That's for the Hunter. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then the rival I think was 0.03.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
Your 0.025 is your typical thinnest that you see, and the Minox is 0.035, which is why I go right, and because lower magnification. But a lot of guys are taking the very same line thickness from their 5 to 25s and putting them in their 3 to 15s.
Yeah.
But you got a 5 to 15. Like, how useless is that? Well, you don't even get a 5. Yeah, 10 to 15. There are a couple other scopes out there that are running thicker lines, but they're not common over here.
US Optics.
Funky, US Optics. I like their reticle.
Yeah,
JVC.
That's a chunky boy.
Yeah, we tried to thicken up the reticle as much as possible. I don't know if Rick, if you want to bring it up on the website, or I can
do it.
Yeah, but
you want the Hunter reticle?
Sure. Yeah, since we're talking about that one. But yeah, I think it's about 3 or 4 times thicker at a base level than the rival one is. So we want to make sure that it's useful at that 3x. You're not going to be using your holdovers at 3x, I don't think. So, I mean,
at least
the reason why, you got your lines. You guys still have that, and we put a nice big floating dot in the middle too. Like, it's not a tiny one. So,
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I think so. I have a 4 to 28 IOR, and the center dot in that one is 1/10 of a mil. And for a 3, that's a little bit too fine still, but it's illuminated dot like you have there.
Yeah.
And it is my favorite all-around optic when it comes to like hunting or.
Yeah, I think when you got the illuminated reticle, it kind of gives you that runway straight in shot, so you don't really need to read it. I mean, you're zeroed and you're just dialing up for whatever distance. And for Quebec, I mean, there's nothing we shoot at past 100 really, unless you're coyote hunting. So,
yeah, I think our center dot is actually 0.2 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we went a little bit bigger, but I had it in real world situations that I think it was like 13x or 12x, and I took a pop at an elk at just under 400 yards. And this is southern Alberta, like the plains, where you could see for probably days. But we had to sneak up on this thing for like an hour. But it was literally, I thought it was perfect because I was like, I just placed the dot on the vitals. I didn't have to be like super precise. It was just like, here's where it's gonna go. Right. And so I was pretty happy with the way that worked out.
Nice.
But yeah, no. So we spent quite a bit of time consulting our shooting team, consulting guides and experienced hunters and guys who've been doing this for a long time, and like, well, what if we took this? Because really the intent of the hunter scope, it wasn't to make it a general purpose hunter scope for every guy who goes to Cabela's or Bass Pros and buys a $300 or $400 hunting rifle.
Right.
I mean, this thing is going to come in at $1,400, but this is for guys who shoot precision rifles and or who are enthusiasts in long range shooting or just whatever, whether you compete or not, it doesn't matter, but you know how to dial, you know how to use holdovers, you know, you want a first focal plane, you want exposed turrets.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided to make this the hunting scope for the precision.
And is that the same glass as the rival?
Same exact glass. Is
Nice.
a Japanese Prime ED glass.
That's
apochromatic lens system. Yeah, it's a lot of scope.
That's a great deal. That's a great deal.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting that same glass. I mean, you know, in that price point, there's not many that can touch it if you're using the same glass as the rival.
Yeah, it's the exact same glass. And I think honestly with this one, we wanted to just keep the weight down as much as possible. So that's why we went with a bit of a smaller objective lens. We went to the 30 mil tube. Still gives you a full 20 mils of internal adjustment if you want to use it. I don't think with the centerfire hunting ring, you're going to be dialing more than probably 6 ever max, theoretically speaking, if you're whatever you're hunting is really far away. But yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of flexibility in that optic. And people have actually come to us and said, hey, I actually want to throw this on my, I don't know, competition rig and try it out. And it's like, sure, yeah, it'll work for that, definitely. But yeah, so that's one of the new products.
So you said that the Hunter has apochromatic lens setup.
Yes. Yep.
Sorry for 1,400.
Yeah,
that's more than all right. And
no.
of course,
I just saw one of the comments.
I know, right? It's like, no matter how hard you work, you never work hard enough, Vanja.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, I blame Shane at EM Precision Rifles. I'll full on say it. I don't really blame him. I'm just joking around. But he's been after me for like a lower magnification, like a mag range, I guess.
Yeah.
Rival. He's like, why don't you make it in something a little bit smaller range? I was like, well, it's still an 8x optical system, but we decided to go with, we can do a 3 to 24. And I talked to my factory and I talked to my engineers. I'm like, can we do this? Like, is it something that makes sense? They're like, well, yeah, but it's gonna take a little bit of time. So I think it took about 6 months to get it done. We had one, and Shane has the only one. Yeah. So I'm like, well, here, you've been asking for something like this. Here, take it. He's like, I'll pay you for it. So he paid me for it. And I'm like, he's like, I just want to be 100% impartial and give you my honest opinion. So I want to buy it. I'm like, okay.
I mean, but what's the advantage though, compared to a 4 to 32?
Well, some people are, I guess, magnification averse. So they really don't love the higher mag ranges. They don't like the 6 to 36s, or they don't like anything over like 24, 25, 28 max.
What are they trying to avoid? Are they trying to avoid, turret inconsistency, or because you don't have to turn that far just because it says it goes that far, right?
Yeah. And I mean, some people like to shoot at, 12x as opposed to 16. So a lot of times the optical system is more or less optimized at that 50% of max range. So I don't know. I think it just really comes down to a lot of people. It's a preference thing.
Okay.
And for us, it was just like, well, I don't know. I'll make one and you tell me what you think. And so Shane's actually in the process of testing it. And this actually came out one during SHOT Show, I think one of the podcast interviews that we did, and he was talking about it. He's like, oh crap, should I not have said anything? I was like, no, it's fine. It's not like a state secret or anything. But yeah, we're currently investigating whether we're actually going to come out with a 3 to 24 version of the rival. So I think he took it to the range for the first time with his new JAE build and the 6 arc that he put together. So we're going to see what he thinks. But initial impressions are, the optical systems are pretty much identical, like the light transmission and clarity and everything.
Same reticle.
Yeah, we just took our CLR and we have to scale it slightly differently for the different mag range. But nothing too crazy. Yeah.
Gotcha. So are you optimizing the reticle for that 50% mag range? Is that typically?
Yeah. So I was a little bit selfish in that when we first started designing it. I was like, I shoot it between 14 to 18x, and I usually just leave it for the day. So whatever match I'm shooting, and I kind of find my optimal for the conditions, and I go, okay, I think I'm going to shoot 14 or 16 all day, and I don't really touch my zoom ring all that much, unless it's like a KYL or something. But most of the time, we designed the reticle like to be perfectly usable at 16x, like ideally. As you get up to, at 16x, I can't remember what the field of view is, but it's significant. It's like, I think even at 20x, we have more than 12 mils of width in the reticle. So, so I think that it really is just a combination of field of view and and the reticle line thicknesses and all those things that we were playing with to make sure that the optimal range for us, I think, is to use the reticle holdovers and all the different components of the reticle, whether you're doing wind holds or vertical and wind holds at the same time. I think ideally like 14x is the minimum that I would personally be comfortable at. Some people have done it at 12 with way better eyesight than mine, but yeah.
I mean, I typically shoot at 12 and usually just lock it again. Unlike you, unless there's a KYL involved, then it's as much as I've got, right? Within reason. So
yeah,
it's awesome. Good. So that's the edge.
And I'm the funny guy that runs 20 then.
Yeah.
Because I started off, I ran 8. Like when I initially began, I ran 8. And I like a thick reticle, so I could use my 8. And then it was 10, then it was 12. And then all of a sudden, I wonder what it'd be like if I just do 20. So I had a whole bunch of practice doing dot drills at 20. And
well, that's
I guess I'm at 20 now.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, because you've got your process that gets you to on target at 20, right?
Well, like, I never could have done this 2 years ago.
Yeah, because if you put a new shooter right at 20 power, they're just going to be peeping over the scope all the time trying to find the target. They're just prairie dogging. So
yeah. But that was me. My first probably 4 matches. I was always like every shot. I was like, oh, where'd it go?
You paid for that mag range. Just use all of it.
Yeah, but there's the thing where. Like I like thick reticles.
Yeah.
But I have changed, right? Like I have evolved. The thick reticle isn't as big of a deal anymore. Maybe the day is going to come where I say, you know what? I want a thinner reticle. So who's to say right and wrong? It's back to this personal preference again.
That's it.
Subjective, 100%. And our opinions and our habits change all the time too, right? I mean, I was doing things last year at matches that I never ever would have done before, and I was way more comfortable with stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this. When you find something that works, you just stick with it until it doesn't anymore, or you find something better.
Yeah, it's evolving. It's evolving. So no changes for the rival this year. It's.
I don't know if I want to talk about it yet, but
okay, all right. No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Actually, no. We're thinking about a midline upgrade is what we're calling it for the rival. It's not really an upgrade. The 4-32 is not going to change much. We're just probably coming out with one more iteration of it that is something that people have been clamoring for. So we'll investigate that later this year and see if we can make it happen. Yeah, it's nothing significant, but
that's very cryptic, Vanja. It's very cryptic.
I know I try to be cryptic, but we're not ready to really publicly discuss it just yet, just because we got lots of balls up in the air.
It's a long road. It's a long road.
For sure. So realistically speaking, there's really no change happening to the rival this year. It's more or less staying put. No, it's not MOA, by the way. So it's the response to a comment. But no, we're pretty excited about the lineup that we have, and most of our focus is really just getting those ones to production and into the hands of users. And we just opened up our pre-order about, I think it was a week ago yesterday, or a week ago today, actually. And
because I went to your website I went to your website Wednesday night last week, trying to see if it's down because they're updating the product line. I said, "Ooh, how exciting!" So
and we launched it last Thursday, and there was literally a flood of stuff came in on like Thursday morning at 10 a.m. when we opened it up or whatever it was, and it was crazy. So we're pretty excited about that. We have the other product that we launched that's shot is the Edge, which is the little LPVO.
Yes, this one excites me just because of the X22, because it's a dual optic. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, no. So it's actually a 34 millimeter tube, same system as the with the pop-up exposed zero stop locking turrets. It's got illumination as well on the side and the locking windage turret as well that pops up and down. The nice thing about this is that you could, just like you said, you could use it for any application you can possibly think of. Carbines, lever actions.
So what was the impetus for you guys to come out with that LPVO?
Well,
were people asking for it, or are you responding to a specific need?
Well, I wanted one.
That's good enough for me.
Same thing with the hunter scope, right? For me,
Yeah.
it was like, hey, I want a hunting scope. I don't want to take my rival backcountry hunting.
Yeah.
And then every time I talk to anybody at a gun show, is like, hey, when are you guys coming out with a hunting scope? I'm like, we're actually working on it because I want one. Like, so
Yeah.
for me, like I was the kind of guy that would literally, like, if I went on a 3 or 4 day hunting trip in the backcountry in Alberta, which is the Rocky Mountains,
Yeah.
we would take our entire camp would be on your back, your water, your food for like 4, 5, 6 days, plus all your, your quote unquote kill kit for game processing,
Yeah.
for all your ammo and firearm in your pack. So I was counting grams. So for us, it was like, I'm not going to carry a 37-ounce optic with me on my rifle. That's insane through the mountains.
Right.
I'll die. So that was kind of how the hunter was born, right? So then the same thing goes, well, I have a bit of a 3-gun background. That's kind of how it was that I got started in competitive shooting, was IPSC and 3-gun. So I was like, well, I only did 3-gun for like a month before the whole thing died. But literally it came down to, well, I think an LPVO would be cool. And then we started looking at what's the optimal range for an LPVO. So ours is a 1 to 10, and it's a first focal plane. So
that's perfect.
Yeah. So, and then we're like, well, what's the perfect reticle design for a first focal plane LPVO? And I don't think we were the first ones to do this, but I think we've executed it better than most. Is that it's a bit of a evolving. Is that coming up? Okay. Yeah. So, really what it comes down to is, it's like at 1x, it basically, there's a segmented outer circle there that just gives you that optical alignment with the optical center.
Yeah.
And then there's an inner segmented circle with an inner floating dot. And you can turn the illumination on and off. If it's off, it's basically black like the rest of the reticle, like a standard illuminator. But, as you zoom into about 5x, that outer segmented circle starts to disappear, and that Christmas tree starts to appear.
Yep.
And give you all the data that you need for any holdovers, any long distance shots if you don't have time to dial. So
that is so sexy. Like, I come from a long, CQB AR competition background, and man, if this was around, 6, 8 years ago, it'd be, take my money. Which one of my lungs do you want?
Kidneys.
Awesome.
Something.
Kidneys. Yeah, something. That's beautiful. No, that just makes sense. And with 10x, then you've got the precision holdovers available to you as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And one of the things that when we first started working on this project, I was like, we need to get the optical system right. So when talking to the engineers, I'm like, we need to make sure that this thing is a true 1x.
Yeah.
It can't be 0.99. It can't be 1.02. Like, it has to be right in that actual 1x. And I said, how do we do that? They're like, well, actually, we've been tinkering with some stuff, and we'll show it to you in a month. I'm like, okay. So then after we did that, then it was through a process of like, how do we actually make sure that it's 1x? They're like, well, we have a lab equipment that we can test it with. So we did. And then they sent it off to a third-party lab. I can't remember what the lab name was called, but they were like, yeah, no, and they certified it as true 1x. So we're just working on the paperwork to get that out. But it's one of the actual rare 1 to 10s that's a true 1x optical
that's
system.
nice.
So it was super important for me, because especially when you're shooting, a carbine platform or anything, when you're transitioning really fast, it's always 2 eyes open. So you don't want that distortion in your field of view when you're trying to target acquisition. So that was super important. So
because
go ahead.
Yeah, because for X22, I mean, we shoot steel out to 300, and then we've got speed steel at 10 meters. And then you've got an array of 5 to 7 pieces of steel between 10 and 15 meters. It's, you could make 3x work, but man, one is so much nicer. So that's perfect.
Yeah. And we try to give as big of a, go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just, your point about the true 1x. I think that people who have not used a 1 times variable have no idea how important that actually is. Yeah. And like, if it is slightly under a 1, it'll mess with your eyes. Yeah. You're better off at 2. Like, it is. I would never have believed it till I got a 1-8 out here on my hunting rifle, and it goes below 1.
And it has like a weird fisheye effect too, right?
Yeah, so it's disorienting.
And that's what got me looking at these low power variables and started to realize that, hey, this isn't actually so simple.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. And so so you've got the hunter, you've got the edge, and those are the scopes that are coming out in 2023, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you've got the illuminated, non-illuminated version of the hunter.
Yeah, that's right. So that's three
Okay,
different
that's 3 different.
SKUs for us. Yeah,
Okay.
for so the illuminated, non-illuminated, and the edge is going to be just in the illuminated version because
Okay.
well, it's
Yeah.
that's probably what it's most useful at as well,
Yeah.
right? So and then for binos, we announced these at TACOM last year in September, but we're actually they're en route right now from our factory. So we have the 10 by 42s. So those were just like a kind of our all-purpose hunting style binocular, or even spotting at 10x. Like a lot of
Right.
guys like to spot some of those
Yep.
shorter distance matches at 10x. 12 is sometimes too much. But I heard
Yeah.
actually a lot of feedback from the NRL, the Rimfire Hunter match, the 22 Hunter match that you
Yep.
had last
Yep.
weekend.
10 is, and I ran a poll quickly a couple of days ago, and 67% of people are going to be using 10x. I thought it'd be 12, but because I thought you'd want to simulate exactly what your magnification factor is, but people like that wider field of view. So 10x was like 68% of the votes, and we had like about 100 votes in there. So it's pretty relevant. And the people that voted for it were guys that, they usually in the top 10 or so of the shooters. So they clearly use it well. So
yeah. So that, I think those ones are going to be really, really successful for us in kind of the general purpose market, not necessarily the competition market.
And what's the target price point for that? Well, what is the price point for that 1042?
1042s are going to be $650.
Okay.
And they are the same Japanese ED glass out of Japan. Okay. So we're kind of keeping our line consistent with that quality level.
All the glass you have right now is ED glass?
Yeah, ED glass. Yep.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, we're not interested in making anything that's non-ED glass.
Okay.
That's kind of our bread and butter right now. But the 12Xs that we have coming out, it's basically the same kind of situation as the 10X, where they're just kind of general purpose, all-purpose binoculars for spotting, for hunting, for whatever they do. But they are definitely a little bit beefier than the 10s. So the 10s are here.
Yeah.
And they're basically kind of like that. And then optically, it's a 50 millimeter objective lens on these as opposed to 42s or 42s on here.
Yeah.
And the one that I know that a lot of people in the competition space are excited about are the Summit Pros, and these ones are with the reticle on them. So
nice.
This was probably like our most popular product at SHOT Show. Every time we came by, we had one set up on a tripod, and we're like, oh yeah, everybody's comes to check out the rifle scopes and the edge. And obviously in the States, the 1 to 10 was really popular.
Yep.
So and they're like, oh, well, let me show you something else. Come check this out. And I'm like, you're showing me a pair of binos. Like, what am I looking at here? And then they look through, like, literally every reaction was like, oh my God, what's this? So yeah, it was a big success for us. Lots of people are really excited about that, and we have some pretty I guess high profile reviewers and optical aficionados from the US that are fairly famous. They're like, yeah, you need to send me a pair of those because I'm really excited about that. So I'm really happy with the way they turned out.
And are all 3 binos coming out this year, or you've got some?
Yep.
Nice. Like
middle
of the year or end of the year?
No, they're en route right now, so they're going to be shipping. We're hoping by April 1st.
Nice.
So yeah, we're just hoping that there's no snags in the shipping process, but we're hoping by end of March they'll actually be here.
That's awesome. And all of those have provisions for tripod mounting.
Yep. Yeah. So they all have a tripod mount threaded adapter right here. So there's just that's a standard cover that threads off. And we actually have on our website one we came out with, which we call the Apex Spire, but it's basically like a really slim profile Arca mount and a traditional. It's got a 1/4 inch 28 adapter on the bottom as well that you can thread into the traditional ones. But I mean, we all use Arca these days. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's available on our website as well, and then I know for everybody, the pre-orders, we're actually including those for free for the pre-order customers. Yeah,
nice. And do you have enough to fill demand?
Oh yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Ouch, but good.
Yeah. The lesson is buy way more inventory than you think you'll need.
Yeah. So I guess with SHOT Show, then the American market has kind of opened up or exploded for you guys.
Yeah, that was kind of the intent. Shot is really expensive. Like it's a really expensive proposition to go down there, not just for the space and the booth and whatever else, but the travel costs. And we brought a bunch of our shooting team down, and they really, big kudos to them. They came down and helped us out, and they worked the booth, and we gave them lots of time to go out and explore and check out what's doing at SHOT Show and mingle and get to know people. But yeah, the U.S. market is our big target for 2023. That's when we make sure that our name gets out there, that we carry over reputation and make sure that we're providing a quality product for down there as well. And so much so that we're actually opening up a facility in Texas for all of our US based distribution in probably by the end of this month. So yeah, it's exciting for us. It's going to simplify our US order fulfillment, and all of our warranty center stuff is moving to that facility as well. So everything's going to be out of Texas there.
Big changes, big commitments. It's good.
Yeah. No, we're just trying to find ways to be more effective and more efficient with stuff. And instead of doing the cross-border shipping like we've been doing, I think it just makes a little bit more sense. I mean, shipping from within the States to the US is like infinitely cheaper than it is from here to down there. Although I will say that it's probably half the price to ship from Canada to the US than it is within Canada, which is interesting.
It is so bizarre. That's always irritated me. I don't know why I don't know how that happens, but here we are.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So 2023, like US push is pretty significant for us. I think we grew our US shooting team from 2 to like 45 or 35 or something like that. So we wanted to make sure, because we're also sponsoring PRS in the States as a sponsor this year, and then we're a title sponsor for the Northeast region. So we wanted to make sure that we had a lot of coverage in a lot of different PRS zones, and that there was a rival at more or less every match that it could theoretically be at. So that was always the goal. And like you said, it's important to have these demo items out of matches. Like that's the time when people are going to be really checking things out and asking somebody like, oh, hey, do you like that? Like, what do you think of it? Is it any good? Should I get one? Right? And here, look through it. So that we thought was like a really big success story for us and a really successful approach in marketing our product and marketing our company in 2022 in Canada. So we're like, well, let's just extend that approach and just widen that a little bit. So
that's awesome. Yeah, one of your shooters, Matt Murphy, put it to the test at this past weekend's 22 Hunter match, and he podiumed with it. So despite all the mechanical issues he was having with his rifle, so he persevered. He was looking pretty dejected halfway through the day, saying, "Oh man, it's just he had the standard penknife in his mouth, ready to clear stoppages, every few rounds." But he sorted it out, and obviously
I would say from the way he tells the story, he said he looked pretty badass with a knife in his mouth.
He did. He was like a pirate. It was like, Matt, the pirate Murphy.
But
so
that's the Rimfire game, though, isn't it?
Like, that's the Rimfire game. Yeah. It's something, you don't expect it, because those actions typically are pretty reliable. But for whatever reason, that day was not a good day for him. So could be the weather.
Well, you know what? It's all about attitude too, right?
Yeah,
and obviously
that's it.
Just push through it and
push through it. Yeah, that's awesome. I think we had there were five apexes out of a field of 35, so it's pretty good representation.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, like that's amazing one, right? Like for our first year, and Carly and I kind of talk about that because we've been doing this for, well, technically we've been only shipping since June or May or June of last year.
Amazing.
And so we go, okay, well, our first SHOT Show was last year, and we had a scope and a backpack, which was technically against the provisions of the rule. But
exactly.
As a non-exhibiting manufacturer, scope and a backpack was a no-no. And then we were just kind of at a couple of different booths, like at MDT and KDAX. They were awesome to work with us last year and again this year. But then to go from that to literally 12 calendar months later, we have a 400 square foot booth with 4 or 5 people down with us, 6 of us working the booth, and it was just like you have 8 new products that you're talking about. You're like, I don't know, we're crazy, but it was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
It was interesting to kind of reflect on that journey a little bit.
You've got momentum. Then the cool part is you've got the glass and the reticles sorted out. So now it's just how do you configure it to fit the different needs that are out there. And you're hitting the nails on the head with the Hunter and the binos and the LPVO. I mean, those are big, easy, low hanging fruit, right? Then Yeah. And then where do you go from here? Then that's the hard part, right?
No,
But-
that's easy.
Okay, let's hear it.
we need that 15x with a reticle laser range finding binos.
There you go.
You talk about what you want. That's what I want.
That's what you want? Is that's John's wish list? I mean, and
Yeah.
all kidding aside, though, that's the challenge we have with rangefinders being 5x, 6x, 7x. When you're when on the challenging matches where we've got a 4-inch square at 250 meters, in scrub, it's not going to happen. So I would kill for a let's just crank it up to 15x and double that resolution, right? So.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even need a reticle in it. All you would need is the actual illuminated reticle that you use to be scaled. Like a reticle like you have in the Pro, which I would really like those binos, but I like having my rangefinders.
Yeah.
I
So
know.
do I run two? Like,
what if you have both in one package?
That's exactly. And then I say the 15. I honestly don't know about the 15. I've
12,
never looked for 15x binos. I have 10s. I definitely want more.
Like if you were a match director, you would use it to confirm during setup, and then you'd use it for spotting throughout the day on the medium to long targets. Like when we had spotting scopes, 20x was the lowest, and they're just too magnified to be any use in a hunter match. So, but
yeah. And I find a lot of times that when we talk about 12x versus 15x for effectively spotting binos, we'll call them. 15x is generally, I'd say 80 to 85% of the centerfire guys will say 15x, and most rimfire guys will say 12.
Yeah.
Right. So it just really comes down to the discipline or the sport, but we're in the process of doing laser range finding binos. I will say that it's the very, very, very beginning stages of it. We've just kind of started the engineering work on it. Okay. It's going to be just like anything that we do. We're not just looking to make whatever somebody else already has in the marketplace. We're trying to do something different, trying to innovate, basically jam as many useful features into one product. So basically take the best of a couple of different things and put it into one thing, and then still iterate and make something that's uniquely ours and something that fits a niche in the marketplace, right? Because I think one of the advantages for our company, being small and nimble that we are, we can actually do smaller production runs than big companies can. So we can do that a lot more easily, and we can say, hey, we can make 500 of something instead of having an ROI for 10,000 plus units manufactured, right? So along with that goes a whole bunch of startup costs and engineering costs that are, I'm looking at some of these numbers that these engineering companies are throwing my way, and I'm like, oh, how big do you think we are? We can't afford that. So let's innovate. Let's be a little bit more, let's be a little bit more nimble, a little bit more flexible. Let's figure out a way to solve that problem without spending $150,000 on one bill.
Yeah. So. Hey, John, just cut Vanya a check for the 15X with a laser rangefinder, man. Just like Shane did with his 3 to 24s.
Well, once I have one to test, I'll be happy to send it your way to get your thoughts. But yeah.
Sorry, John. I thought I had a way in there for you, but apparently there's reality always rears its ugly head. So.
Yeah, like having onboard ballistics and all of that stuff. I would say, that'll be useful as a second generation or something added later, maybe. But the basic,
we had a comment. We had a comment about Bluetooth connectivity to ballistic apps, so you could just punch the button and have it just feed directly into it. If you don't offer directly in the unit, at least be able to interoperate with other solutions.
So AB licensing is interesting. So we actually have a licensing agreement with them already in place. We're working with Applied Ballistics on this project. So they've been awesome to work with, by the way. Just a huge shout out to them. They're super helpful. And us being a small optics company, they were not afraid to say, hey, let's work on this together. They're used to work with all the big guys. So they've been awesome to work with so far. We actually met with them while we were down a shot as well. There were 4 or 5 of us huddled around a meeting table, and we were trying to figure some stuff out. But their licensing is structured so that you can license the AB Lite, which goes out to 800, and then the Elite as well. So we're playing around with different models, trying to figure out what would be a good user experience for us.
Yeah, just bring out the Summit Pro Rimfire AB. That's what we want. That's all we need.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing for rimfire. You won't need anything but
No.
the AB light, right? So unless there's
Exactly.
some advanced stuff in there that I'm
Yeah.
not sure what you guys are
King
using.
of 0.22 miles goes to 700 meters. That's it. We top out there, and that's already a known distance. So yeah.
So I think we'll have, like, what we're leaning towards is a built-in. Obviously you can buy like two different versions of it from our website, but one's going to have the AB light and one's going to have the Elite.
Wow.
Or we can upgrade it after the fact just from your smartphone. So like from our app, you'd be able to do an over-the-air upgrade to Elite right inside the binos, and it takes like, I think, 45 seconds. So
Nice.
So that might be an option as well that we do. And there's a lot of different stuff kicking around, whether we do something with the built-in etched reticle like we did on the Pros, combined with an LRF reticle, or we combine that onto one interface. There's a lot of different things. Plus, we're actually looking to innovate some, I would say, human-machine interface, to go back to my IT days, UI stuff, where we want the workflow to make sense from a competition, NRL hunter, CRPS, Rimfire hunter perspective, where you have to, find it, range it, engage it, whether you're a single solo shooter or if you're a team. So that also has considerations, right? So you're trying to figure out, okay, what is the typical workflow that most shooters, like 80%, will undertake in that scenario? So you guys can probably tell me that better than I can, but in talking to our team guys, they kind of outlined what they typically do, and I go, well, that makes a lot of sense. And then the way that the software and the interface is currently set up in a lot of these LRF binos, it just doesn't work for that.
Yeah.
So when you're inputting wind values, or where you're inputting like wind direction and speed, you go, well, that takes like 6 menu clicks to go through with like the one button or the 2 buttons. Like, there has to be a better way. So those are the kinds of things that we're always thinking about and going, what would be a better way to do that?
Yeah. Just give me a touchpad on top, man.
Yeah.
I'll scroll.
Make it IP67 waterproof.
That's it. Exactly. and under $599 price point.
$599. Yeah.
And as I understand, the SIG's 10Ks have an adjustable reticle.
Yes, it's adjustable. There's different reticle versions, and they have, I believe, you can do all the reticle calibration and stuff and truing. So,
what's the price point for the SIG 10Ks?
Too much.
I thought they were like 2,500 or something Canadian.
Okay.
Retail, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and are they 10X?
Yes, 10X. Yeah.
Most of them are 10X, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're looking at a 12X optical system at a minimum. We might come up with a couple of different words. We've actually had requests for 8X too, for guys who are more into the hunting side of it, and they're like, 8X gives you a nice big field of view, and it might be a little bit lighter too, and more compact, so they fit into the standard pouch. But we're considering that down the road. But our primary focus is competition, obviously, and then we can look at other market segments and niches after that. But
12 would be sweet. And that's the thing. It depends on the resolution as well. Can it find that 4-inch steel at 250, 350? And I don't know what the limit's going to be, but that's where a lot of the 22 Hunter. I mean, in this particular past match, we were in heavy brush, and you really got to find out who had good range finders and who didn't.
Well, it's about beam width and all that stuff, right? And I think the ability of the laser to be able to cut through foliage and branches and that kind of stuff, or for example, like fog. Or rain conditions, like that's going to be super important to us. Like, we don't want to just throw something out there and be like, well, it works or it doesn't. Sorry, guys. Like, we're really conscious of it needing to work in all these different conditions, environmental factors.
You don't want to be known as it's no worse than any of the other guys. You want to stand out as being better than the other guys.
Yeah, and there's certain things for us. Like, I don't know if we have necessarily, if there's a market need for us to provide a laser that goes up to 10 kilometers. I don't know. Like, I don't see any use outside of military for that, and that's not the market that we're playing in. There's plenty of other, $55,000 rangefinders that'll do that job. But
actually, what you need, Vanya, is a 100 MOA prism option for the long range shooters. That's
like a wedge.
Cool. Like a wedge. If I was gonna throw something out that could be relatively easy to make for someone that's so accustomed in optics and manufacturing. That would be interesting.
Yeah, we've thought about that. Yeah, a lot of our ELR shooters, like the shoot for our team, use the Charlie system.
Charlie Tarak.
Yeah, and actually, I know the owner of that company quite well now. We actually have a working relationship on a couple of different side projects, so they're awesome to deal with. And they're like, "Well, we've never made one for this rival. Like, send me a sunshade, and we'll manufacture a Tarak mount for it." I'm like, "Perfect."
Bingo.
So
there you go.
Yeah, so they were awesome to work with, but yeah, I know that Night Force has one that's really popular.
Yeah, the wedge.
So, yeah, the Night Force wedge, and
So I saw a couple of those last year. They work. I mean,
it's a similar approach, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we'd love it to say Apex on it, just by Canadian.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, but yeah, we're starting engineering work on a lot of different stuff. So like we don't sit still. Like honestly, as soon as the Hunter and the Edge were like into the production sphere, like we gave them the go ahead to proceed. We're like, okay, on to the next thing. And it's we're already working on some other cool stuff. And actually one really exciting thing that I will mention that was going to be available on our website probably in the next month or so are our white dry erase stickers for the elevation turret for the rival. So we're working on those right now. So I don't know if you guys have played with that system too much, with that approach where you mark your targets on your turret before you're in your stage prep. But 100%. So a lot of guys have been doing that, and we've had a lot of requests to that. So
interesting.
We're working on that right now. We're just kind of finalizing it. I had some test ones that I was playing around with this past weekend, and this is a little bit of fine tuning, and they'll be ready to go. So we'll be offering them for a pretty good deal on the website. Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah,
there's no inheritance safe from Apex Optics.
No, I don't even want to show you this, but we have a couple of prototypes that we're messing around with. But it's this is more of a 2024 thing, I think. But it's literally ready to go.
Oh, no way! Oh man,
just a teaser, but yeah. But yeah, there's some stuff coming that we're pretty excited about, and even with the red dot sights, right? Like I don't want to just make a red dot sight that's like a whatever. We need to.
That's cool.
Innovate.
That's
right. Cool. So we need to do something really cool that nobody's done before. So this one is going to be tight under the lock and key until it's ready to come out, because we're actually probably going to have to file some patent paperwork for it, because we're doing something that nobody else is doing. So
that is so cool.
And we're always going.
Yeah, I am in awe of the amount of stuff you must have rattling around in that head of yours, Vanya. That's so cool.
Sometimes it's hard to shut it off at night, right? So melatonin helps.
That's good. That's it. That's awesome.
Or at least you're having fun.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Well, we actually have a CRPS match and an X22 match at BTSA in September this year, middle of September.
Awesome. We
would love to have you and your team members there. And it's so you have a choice. So you get a chance to shoot the multi-format X22, which is close range steel out the CRPS or whatever BTSA has. Yeah. And you've got the full 10 stage CRPS match.
Awesome.
And that'll be on the 16th and 17th, I believe, whichever that's the weekend. So it'll be a 2-day Rimfire weekend there. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, is that the same weekend as TACCOM?
Oh, it might be. Or I think TACCOM's the week before.
It's the week before,
maybe.
And I'll be back in time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. If it works out, it works out.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be amazing. I got my Deuce all ready to go.
There you go.
Got the new builds. Yeah, I got the scope mounted on it. So we're really, really excited about that. So I have not done any load work up. The barrel is pure and virgin, and it has not been touched.
Perfect.
So I'm going to be running like 10,000 rounds through it.
Nice. Just got to show up and have fun. That's the number one priority. Oh, so someone's confirming TACCOM is the weekend or the week before.
Perfect.
8, 9, 10. So yeah, we'll be a week after that. So that'll work out fine.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we're really excited about this year. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we like to say never stop, never stopping.
Just got to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can stop. You can rest when you die.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's it. That's awesome, man. Wow. I don't think us talking last year, we sat down in Calgary. I don't think you would have had this much out in such a short amount of time. So kudos to you and the hardworking team that you work with to make all this good stuff happen. So pretty good. The response has been amazing. I have not heard one negative thing, and everyone I talk to is, they've looked at it and they're switching to it. Is what I'm hearing. So good job, Vanya.
I appreciate that. No, it's definitely been. It's like I said, it's been awesome to see. It's been humbling in so many different ways, and it's also just given us a lot of energy to just keep going, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the stuff. Like if we were spending 80% of our time dealing with customer inquiries and warranty claims, and people weren't happy with something, or I was having to explain something away, like we wouldn't be able to do any of this other stuff. Like it would just eat up the entirety of our time. And
that's it.
Yeah, and it's nice for me. Like this is our full-time gig now. That's 100% of my focus. It's same thing for Carly, and same thing. We actually hired a full-time employee as well.
Wow.
So we're just constantly growing, right? So we're, and that doesn't even count any of the engineers, everybody working on the project. But this is just us, like just going full tilt, and we're gonna just keep going. So
that's awesome. Well, congratulations, man. You've done, I'm going to say so much in so little, but I know how much. The little is what we visibly have seen, but we know people don't understand how much heartache and effort went into getting to the can we make this stage, so yeah,
no, absolutely. And you know what, and I think we can attribute a lot of the success of the products to everybody who worked on the projects, who gave us input, and even you guys. Honestly, like when last time I was on the podcast, you guys were talking about like, well, what about this? This would be perfect for. I think that's when I kind of first dropped the hint that we were working on an LPVO, and said, we're still engineering it, but it'll be ready at some point in time. And you guys were giving us thoughts and ideas, and I think John, yourself, and Rick, you guys were giving us so much input on stuff like, well, if you're doing binos, then maybe consider this. And
well, someone just asked Jeff Haney, I think, just asked for spotting scopes. That in the plan somewhere?
We had thought about it, and I want to. I think I still want to make it, but I'm not 100% certain that we will just yet. It's been a really, really challenging thing to find a factory that makes those that I want to work with.
Oh yeah.
There are plenty of factories in kind of mainland China that approached us when they saw that we were coming out with stuff, and I'm like, that's fine, and I just didn't have any interest in the products that they already had as a base model. That I'm like, what's a good starting point for us to just iterate from? And I just wasn't really excited about it. So I'm still trying to find a partner in Japan. There are a couple that I've talked to, and I want to make a tactical style spotter.
Okay.
Kind of the, I don't know, similar to, I guess, the Mark IV, but not really. But just kind of like the body shape style.
Yeah.
The vertical prism system.
Yeah.
But
you haven't found somebody.
I haven't found the right person or the right
partner. Yeah.
Gotcha. The right partner.
So you're thinking about it.
And we're thinking about it. It's definitely on our list of projects that we want to kick off at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. It's TBD right now. But
Yeah.
you know what? We're finding a lot of interesting transition in the space where, like you mentioned, everybody's kind of moving away from spotters to a certain degree for competition and going to the bino route. So
yeah, and then if you do a laser rangefinder and a bino, then you've two birds, one stone. And then they throw AB on there optionally for other people. Like most guys will get away with Strellock Pro, which is like $15, right? But once they're ready to step up to the next level with AB, then as an option, then you'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. And with our LRF Bino project, we're actually looking at a really interesting wind and atmospheric condition reading solution.
Really?
So kind of if you go look and you kind of step away from the kestrel dependency, if you want to call it, because I think I noticed somebody mentioned that there's a kestrel downfall because of the selecting targets one by one when ranging.
Yeah.
I think that's all the stuff that we're trying to solve at the same time, that you can actually capture targets in a sequence, and then it'll just be there, right?
Yeah,
so
that would be great. Tell me my dope in sequence that I'm going to engage them. Yeah, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, or you can cycle through, right? And,
nice.
And there's some other stuff that we're working on that, honestly, I hate these little teasers, but there's a rifle scope project that we're kicking off that is going to be next gen. I think it's going to kill everything else in the market.
Is it going to turn the turrets for me?
It will auto dial turrets. It'll auto parallax, and it'll auto aim for you. So it'll have the little aimer. Then as you move in the rifle, it just pulls the trigger for you. So
with a gyro, there you go.
Yeah.
Actually, so here's the thing, and production legal scope. So for us, that's around the $700, $800 mark. And I know your strategy of ED everywhere it goes against the possibility of that. But have you thought about that? I'm not going to say entry level market, but that the guy who wants good optics but doesn't have a big $1,500, $2,000 budget. Have
Yeah,
you
so I can't
thought
remember
about
what
those
the
guys?
limit is for optics. Is it $900 or something? Or
$700 US. It's around
700
there.
US. Yeah.
But
So
something that doesn't have to be hard and fast. We have scopes that are usually it's a 6 mil turn. It's no zero stop. It's very much a simplified optic.
yeah, for sure. So we've definitely thought about it. The issue is for us, like we have like the rival is actually already production legal for like PRS, right? So for that sport down there, for both 22 and for Centerpire, and for here it's like, I don't know. I look at it and I go all the time, I can't make a scope for that amount of money and still be in business, right? So I would have to shift my entire company strategy to kind of, we have to get away from Japanese manufacturing.
Yeah, it'd be different.
Right?
It'd be different. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Understand.
And so and that's the only way to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's a valid answer, right?
Yeah.
That's the realities.
And I don't want to switch from that. And I think our company reputation kind of rests on where we manufacture, and if we try to play that game, then we start going into, there have been some downfalls for some other companies that have attempted that. But then on the other hand, there have been amazing optics coming out of, China that have been fantastically received and are super, super popular at that competitive price point. Some people will try to tell me that optic stacks up to ours, and that's okay. They can have that opinion, but I'll vehemently disagree and fight them on it. But
there's every single one. There are anomalies.
Yeah,
there are. Yes,
I mean, they're nice. They work, right? But
100%.
Side by side is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
And someone talked just up the limit. I mean, so next year we are changing how we classify production and open, but you're not going to see a $2,000 optic, into a base class anywhere, right?
How about the Hunter?
There you go, the Hunter. So there's going to be trade-offs. So you'll see us moving toward what NRL is doing for their production class definitions, just to align ourselves. But again, there's limits. You can spend all your money on optics and have to buy a $200 Scorpio EM 332 whatever, right? So
right. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, there's a couple of different approaches that are kind of taken by different leagues, and I think that's the thing. It's like, they just give you a total amount for your
exactly.
You decide what you want to spend the money on, right? So yeah, for sure.
Good, awesome. You're making me look forward to this season more than ever, Vanya. I hope to see those optics sooner rather than later. That's great. So you're shipping early April. Some of them, you said they're arriving to you April.
Well, the binos will be here by probably end of March. I'm hoping. Okay. There's no other snags, but so we'll be shipping at some point in April.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, and then the Edge and the Hunter are on the same production schedule at the factory, so they'll be coming off the same assembly lines at the same time. So they'll be available to us probably by June.
Okay, nice.
So
and
ready to ship.
No global pandemic is going to screw up supply chain this time.
No, you know what? We've actually seen a pretty crazy slowdown. Anything COVID related, as far as production and supply chains, shipping routes, shipping prices have gone down. Like the ocean freight, I think, was down 90% year over year.
That's amazing.
That's good news for everybody.
Yeah.
And then I think overall our factory has really kind of tightened down the delivery time frame, so we're pretty confident in the stuff that we're talking about now. So nice. We've learned our lesson, and we've raised enough hell, and so we'll see what happens.
And I think everyone's got to understand that these are there are things outside of your control. I mean, you've done what you can and hedged your bets and padded as much you can, but at some point some things go well past what you thought it was going to take. So again, it's so, from what everyone's saying, it's been worth the wait. So
appreciate it. And we're excited to support the CRPS again this year, and all the different things that you guys are doing. I know a lot of people are excited about all the different formats you guys are undertaking. And like I said, locally, everybody's been talking about the BTSA stuff. And
I know.
I'm hoping to make it out to one of the matches at some point. It's just, I'm usually out of town, like this weekend, I think they might be having a match, and then we're at the CSAA show in Calgary this weekend exhibiting. So it's like, I don't even have time to shoot anymore.
I know. You fell into the same trap I did, Vanya. Say, I'm going to get into the hobby that I love, so I'll have more time to shoot. It's been awful. But I get to hang
Everybody
out.
that I talk to in this industry says the exact same thing.
But
Literally,
I get to meet a lot of nice people though. So, and last
Yeah.
weekend was no exception. It was met some new faces, met some old ones, and we got to see them, discover, new ways to screw up a stage or that's what's nice about these new formats. You kind of know what you're doing, but then you also don't know what you don't know until you get there and realize that, your $8,000 platform isn't worth anything if you can't find the target.
100%. And I heard a lot of people had trouble finding some
Yeah,
targets, right? Like
except for the young guns, like at early 20s, they're saying there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is.
Those good eyes, I tell
those
you.
good eyes, man. It's good eyes. But again, that's all part of it, and it's the same stage for everybody. It's the same RO, so it's just fun. It's like being a kid again, with a box of shells and a rifle over your shoulder, just walking the trail with a buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And I find, I don't know if I talked to you about this before, but I'm finding the feedback from pretty much every guy that shoots all the different competitions in the different formats. They find that NRL hunter, CRPS hunter, Rimfire hunter, whatever you want to call it, like that style of match is probably their new favorite thing to shoot, right? Like everybody loves that, because I'd say probably 90% of the guys or folks that started shooting the sport to begin with got into it to get better at hunting or be more confident or perfect, positional shooting for hunting scenarios. So I feel like there's like a really good benefit there to those kinds of matches.
And it's father-daughter, father-son friendly or adult youth friendly. So
team shooting.
It's team shooting. It's perfect. Now I've seen it go sideways too, but for the most part, exactly, but it's been good. People have enjoyed it. So yeah, we're looking to hold much more this year. It's going to probably be the faster. I mean, CRPS from an event count perspective is topped out. I mean, we're holding 25 a year, and that includes 2-day regionals in each of the 5 regions, and a national. So that's 26 events total. Then we'll just have to add the multidiscipline X22 and the 22 Hunter series just to fit everything out. So yeah.
Nice. Are you still looking to do all your crazy road trips this year?
Less. I'm relying on people to host matches, and that's what I spent the last couple of years on, is just building a network of guys that are interested and as passionate, as motivated to providing these events to everybody. So honestly, it doesn't really matter who holds it, as long as people have an opportunity to shoot rimfire. Our goal was to create an opportunity and teach people that you could run these events. We don't have to be the ones doing it. It's great that other people take up and host matches. That's all we want to do. And it's been great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
no, for sure. And I know a lot of people are excited about shooting those matches. We hear from the guys all the time. And I know we get a lot of support from the folks that shoot your matches. So it's we always get a lot of thank you notes and emails, really nice emails this past week. So
good.
Thank you, everybody who does that. We really appreciate it. It makes a big difference to us, because it lets us know that
I know it's nice to hear a thank you every now and again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're genuine. I mean, I think you guys do a lot for the sport. You help up our game, so it's a partnership. So thank you very much for your support, and
it's our pleasure.
Yeah. And keep building great stuff that we just love. Some guys just like new gear, and I'm one of those. I like new gear stuff, But that LPVO, that one's something special. That one's got me salivating, because that X22, even in the Hunter series, I think that would work really well. You can spot with it and zoom in and smack the target when you find it. So
yeah,
that'll be cool.
I think so.
Awesome. Anything else you wanna share with us, Vanja? I think you leaked a couple of things that you weren't necessarily planning to. And
I wasn't planning on it. No. No, it's just we're always working on something. The one cool thing is, I don't actually have it here. It's somewhere here. We included with our Summit binos is it's kind of like a hunting style chest rig. So we include that in every package.
Nice.
So that's another kind of value add. Like if you didn't need any more value to these the great optics, it's we include that as part of every purchase with the Summit binos, because that's what I wanted to use. So I use and it's all like magnetic lash, side pockets.
I was going to ask you, but I didn't want to call you out in case you're still using the
hook loop
elastic rib cords. So mag latching is like the next level stuff. That's awesome.
And it's like Cordura 6000D ballistic nylon on the
Nice.
outside, so it's like weatherproof for the most part. I don't know if it, I think I've dunked it in snow. And then
That's
on the
awesome.
inside is like a soft suede, so
Nice.
it's quiet, right? So for hunting applications specifically for
So-
me, it's like I hate noisy bino harnesses.
Yeah, exactly. So you're selling stuff that you'd want to use.
Yeah, that's really where it
Nice.
comes down to it all the time. It's like, from my experience, what works, right? And on the bottom, what's really cool is we actually have there might be a picture on our website or not, but it's the laser cut moly panel on the sewn into the bottom, so you can attach certain things. Like I like to have bear spray on my bino harness, so you can attach a bear spray holder to it, and guys in the States that can carry while hunting, going bow hunting, they can actually attach a holster to it. There are a couple of different holster setups for that kind of stuff. So, pretty much, or whatever, or hand warmer too, right? So
nice.
Awesome. So we're always thinking of stuff that we want to use that we can add in as a value added bonus to our users. And some guys have really, really expensive bino harnesses that they love to use and they'll never part with. It's like, well, give this to your kid or to your wife or a friend or whatever, right? Like it's fine. You don't have to keep it.
Yeah. My most favorite ones are the mag latch ones.
Yeah.
Easy to use, and there's no futzing around with it. And well, I can't wait to hopefully try those out.
Let me answer that last question. Sorry. Yeah, it comes with caps, and they're Apex branded. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect.
How easy do they fall
off? It's pretty hard to take off. So
is it the rubber ring with a cap? Yeah, that just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so often I find like that ring will slide off the barrels. I don't know. I actually not even sure if you have a ridge on the end of your barrels or not.
Yeah, there's a ridge.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because too often it's just smooth and then they just fall off on you.
Yep.
Good.
Nice. Products. Summit ED binos. Just gonna scroll to. Nice. Very nice bag.
Yeah, we'll have some more pictures and stuff of it in the next little while, but we're working on some we're looking to up our production value on some of our stuff as well. So we're gonna have some cool product videos coming out, and stuff that gives a really good overview of everything that we're doing. So hopefully in the next little while, I would say next month or so, we'll have some really good product videos and that kind of stuff for all the stuff, including the binos, the bino pouch, the bino carrier, and spires and all the rifle scopes and stuff. So nice. Yeah, and somebody asked about new Apex apparel coming. We're working on some stuff, but I don't know. That's not our primary focus. We don't want to be an apparel company necessarily.
Yeah, you do. I like the shirt. I saw the shirt and I saw it on the website. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I came up with the idea for the other T-shirt that we have on the website when I was at a match last year, one of the SAPRL matches, and I just repeatedly saw people forgot to dial.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, did you even dial? And then I thought of the context, but did you dial? Like a take on the whole, but did you die? Yeah. So so I threw it over to our graphic designer. I'm like, here, can you come up with a concept for this?
Nice.
So we just decided to make a T-shirt for kicks out of it. But yeah, it was
nice.
That's about the kind of stuff that we're really making. We're not really making stuff to have our. That must be Colin asking that question. Any plans on knee-high socks? I don't see who it is.
Yeah, we don't see it on the. You'd have to go to Facebook and see.
Yeah. But awesome. We'll come up with some other stuff that we're working on. I think Carly's actually working pretty hard on sourcing some stuff for like sweatshirts and other things.
Nice.
And some
hoodies.
But yeah.
Hoodies. Oh, Dan's taking sideways on tripods.
Yeah. Well, he should know better. He's on our team now, but he's we get that question asked more often than not at every trade show that we go to. Yeah, because we usually have like 3 or 4 sets of tripods with us, and stuff is on tripods, right? But yeah. And
you just keep doing what you're doing, Van. You keep delivering the optical goodies and leave the tripods for much later.
Yeah, exactly. And we're exploring a couple of different avenues. I think I even talked to you about that when we got together last summer in Calgary, but it was, we want to stay pretty laser focused on the things that are in our wheelhouse and the things that we want to make. And I don't really necessarily want to deviate too hard from that right now.
That's awesome. Well, it's exciting. It's going to be an exciting year for shooters across Canada. So yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to see it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, things like mounting systems are one of the things that we're engineering right now. So
nice. One piece, two
yep,
piece. Nice.
Yeah, one piece right now. The one piece is the initial focus. We'll probably come up with something in the 30 mil configuration for the Hunter, like a more lightweight.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know, Dan, you were just joking, but it's just one of those things that makes sense to us. And again, we bring that back to, hey, what makes sense? Why would we come up with this if somebody else already has it, if they've perfected it, quote unquote? But let's try to figure out all the different requirements that we'd like to see in one package that maybe one company's done 2 or 3 and somebody else has done 1. And
I mean, all kidding aside, like it's all part of the shooting system, right? Binos on a tripod with a tripod hammock, right? All your shooting gears in one unit, and that just makes sense because that's what the prepared shooter has, right? They've got everything in one unit. So tripod makes sense.
I think it makes sense for us at some point, for sure. Yeah, and I think there are different avenues that we're exploring right now for that. Maybe a partnership with an existing brand and just kind of come with an Apex version of what we're looking to do, without us necessarily getting into the tripod manufacturing business. So we'll see. There's opportunities there that we're exploring, and we might just say, nah, we'll just do it ourselves. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. That's awesome.
Sometimes I just get frustrated and decide to do it myself. So
you're so impatient, Vanya.
If it's something you can do without being a me too,
right?
Because if it's just a me too, then
and that's like that's our number one company philosophy, 100%. Like we don't want to just be the me too. We're gonna be, hey, what's next? What can we do better, right? And that's kind of always what we're trying to think of. And I know, like to a certain degree, a lot of companies try to do that, but then you kind of look at the products and you go, well, this is what was economical to manufacture, and you're like, why is this any different than any of the other stuff on the market? So I don't care about dollars. We're not in it to make money. I just want to make cool stuff.
Right.
That's it,
well, at least you said it with a straight face.
Well,
I have to pay the bills.
Yeah, but, you got to make enough so you can keep making cool stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Literally every single dollar that we made last year from rival sales went into new product development.
Nice.
We didn't really pay ourselves last year at all. It was more along the lines of we knew we needed to expand our product line and what made sense, and let's just do this, right? So that's kind of our company philosophy, is like, let's just keep investing money into the company, and eventually it'll grow into something that we could be comfortable with. But yeah, no, that's maybe we're dumb. I don't know.
Maybe, but
I doubt myself all the time in my approach. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe
you might be dumb, but you're onto something good. Your intelligence has no bearing on the current success you've got. So.
There's a lot of self-doubt a lot of times
for sure.
Every decision that we make, but it's important because it keeps us in check, right? So
yeah, that's it. Well, you got a lot of good advisors there, so I think
I think so.
It's so far so good. So that's awesome, man. Good to see the exciting stuff for this year, and look forward to getting hands on it. And I'm sure a lot of people are as well. So judging by your pre-orders, which I'm sure are healthy, I guess I would say.
Yeah, no, we had really good response to both the products. We're really happy with the way things are going, and we're just ready to make the next stuff too. And then I can't wait to get the new products in the hands of everybody who's pre-ordered them. We're really excited about that part of it, and hopefully we'll get there sooner than later.
Perfect, awesome. Thanks for joining us, Vanya. Appreciate your time and your efforts at keeping us behind good glass. John, thanks very much for your time. I miss you, buddy. Am I going to see you before May? Maybe not. May 20th, Palmerston, CRPS there.
Are you coming?
I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay.
I wouldn't miss it. Get a chance to hang out there.
I'm going to have to design a match focused on deliberately challenging vertically challenged people.
So those are non-Frank Galley approved barricade heights.
100%.
Nice. I'll bring my regular step stool shooting aid. That's awesome.
Stilts.
Yeah, the stilts. Yeah.
Or what are those shoots? Those shoes.
Platforms.
Platforms. Yeah.
Nice. Maybe. All right, gents. Thanks very much. Have a good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
To all you listeners, don't forget to follow us, like, and subscribe. Have a good evening.